My father abandoned me. My mother chose alcohol over us, and now my children don't even know their grandmother. I need a true rant, so bear with me if this may be long. My mom 60F and dad 62M got matured right out of high school and started having babies. First came my oldest brother 33M. 11 months later, my sister 32F was born. My parents were content and had decided after some time my mom would get her tubes tied. During pre-surgery procedures, the doctors informed my parents that my mom is present with me, 28F. My dad was MAD. He said my mom had to have cheated on him because they wanted no more kids, which clearly led to my dad holding some feelings towards me. He didn't want to be involved in anything, even left my mom in the hospital to go out partying when I was born. When I was about 2, my dad left. We would later find out that he ended up getting his mistress pregnant. His love child was born before my parents' divorce was finalized. I did not see my dad much at all growing up. He told his side of the family all kinds of bad things about my mom, so they would refuse to babysit us so she could work. This led to my mom on the verge of eviction. When my mom could get someone to watch us, she would work at a cute diner that I have very fond memories of growing up. One day, the delivery driver doing his regular route came in to make the delivery to the diner. My mom and this delivery driver responded to each other because they have seen each other before over the years. They were nothing more than just friendly, but my mom was in a very difficult spot at the time. The driver ended up catching her while out on a smoke break, and they chatted for a while. He found out what had happened to all of us and could not stand to see a family fall apart due to a man abandoning us, so he literally swooped in and saved all of us. Let's call him B. By my 3rd birthday, we were living with him in an entirely different city. In the beginning, things were great. We lived in a great neighborhood and one of the top school districts in my area. B had 3 kids from a previous marriage, and they lived right sound the corner from us with their mom and stepdad. All in all, it seemed like the beginning of a true happy family. My mom and B were weekend drinkers, and that turned into sometimes during the week, to an every night thing as I grew up. While I was young, they would just listen to music, hang out at home, have a close friend come over, just good vibes. Over the years, B became more and more angry. It would start over small stuff or small rules, almost to see how much he could control us, and it would reach its peak when he would corner us and scream at us. One night, my sister, who was about 9 at the time, upset B and he cornered her and was screaming at her in her face. I just remember my sister, crying and pleading with him to stop while I try to get between them. I have lots of memories like this of my childhood. B was also a very sexual person. We would see him touching all up on my mom and making perverted comments at her all the time. I don't know if this had a part in what I'm about to say next or if it's irrelevant. But when I was 4, a younger member of the family who looked up to B started molesting me. This went on into early preteen years. The first time it happened, I managed to get away. I ran to my mom crying. While I didn't what happened, I KNW it was bad and wrong. When my mom asked me what was wrong, I just told her I didn't know. She said that I'll be fine and to go back to playing with the person who just did that to me. So at this point in my life, I have grown truly terrified of men. I do not trust anyone. The adults in my life were angry, verbally abusive. My siblings and step-siblings were all so mean to me because I was the youngest. I was being molested. My father had sanded us, and my parents are alcoholics. When my brother was about 16, he had a mental breakdown, stole my sister's phone in the middle of the night, and disappeared into the woods. He called and texted my mom, and I saying he was gonna unalive himself. Cops were called, he was found, and he was sent to live with my dad and stepmom. Side note, the mistress who was pregnant that broke up my mother and father's marriage, she had her kid after some time. My dad ended up cheating on her with my stepmother. My dad left the mistress and his new baby for the stepmother, who was also married with 3 kids. She divorced her husband, got with my dad, and they've been together ever since. Well, they are good now. They were very religious growing up and would force it down our throats. So my brother moves off to my dad's. The abuse at home is only getting worse now, and B starts to make threats to unalive us. So when I was 16, my mom packs us up and moves us 4 states away. Once there, I find out that I'm pregnant. A few months go by, and I end up cooking back to live with my kid's dad and his family. It was an awful idea, but at the time it seemed like the right move, I guess. By the time I was 8 months pregnant, my mom and sister moved back, and we all squeezed into a 2-bedroom run-down apartment because I was not staying with my kids, dad's family, any longer. So him and I moved in with my mom and sister in this little apartment. Although small, it felt cozy to have family around again. My mom started working, and things seemed to start to go okay, but slowly every time it seemed to go good, things would go so very wrong. One day while out, Her car ended up breaking down, and we found out that it needs about $2,000 worth of work to get it fixed. None of us had that kind of money at the time, so it ended up sitting for quite some time. So my boyfriend's car was the only one we had to use. She started making up a lot of excuses to take the car. Me being her daughter thought nothing of it, let her do it, but she would run it down to E and never fill it up. We did not have the money for gas, and she would not contribute. She ended up losing the job that she had and then started working at a small local convenience store, making much less money. We stopped heaving food in the house, and most of the money she made would go towards booze and cigarettes. One day she said she was taking a vacation for a week off of work, and then literally just never returned to that job again. My sister and I have a genetic condition that causes blindness, so at this time my sister collects SSI while she attends a local technical school, so she is able to pay rent but nothing else. My boyfriend worked at a fast food restaurant and was just able to afford the things that we needed for our baby, and my mom did nothing. One day during the middle of winter, we get two notifies. Our electric is being shut off and must be paid $900, and our heat is being turned off unless we can pay $550. At the time I am 17 with a 7-month-old. My mom sits my sister and I down and says she's going to live with my grandma an hour and a half away. 2 days go by, and my grandma and grandpa got there to pick up my mom and her stuff, while us kids stood there speechless. My grandparents could tell us kids had not eaten in a few days, so they gave us some money, and they left with my mom. I ate my first actual meal in months that day while just crying, angry, wondering how she could just leave us like that. All the pain of my dad leaving all those years ago reached a boiling point that day. How could she just leave us after everything we had went through? My sister moved in with a guy she was dating at the time because his family was nice enough to help her out because we were all about to be homeless. My boyfriend, myself, and my daughter moved back in with his family. After some time, things started to calm down, but this whole circumstance definitely led to some resentment toward my mother. Fast forward, I'm 21, me, my child, and my kid's dad are all living on our own. My sister and her boyfriend bought their own place together. Things seemed to be looking up, and we all stayed very close with my mom in the years following her leaving. Well, after years of being single, my mom finally started doing the dating thing. She ended up meeting what would be her husband. We will call him T. They dated for 5 months, quickly moved in, and got married. We put together a little wedding ceremony for them, all of us attended, and then after the wedding, contact between us and my mom slowly started to stop. We went from talking daily to weekly to monthly to no. We only talk when us kids call her. It definitely hurt. We of course knew she was in a new relationship and had rose-colored glasses on, but we figured once the honeymoon phase faded away, we would get back to being close again, or at least somewhat. Well, that did not happen. I am now 28, my now husband and I have 3 kids now, and have built a beautiful life for ourselves. My sister is 31, and just had her first baby with her husband, and they are also doing very well. My mom is honestly not someone I think about often, since I talk to her maybe once a year, and haven't seen her in about 4 years. Since my sister just had a baby, I thought my mom would try to come meet the baby, or something. No, my mom does not call and has not called to check in on either one of them since they've been home from the hospital. Well, my sister caused her the other day, and my mom literally sounded like she was talking to someone she hated. Backhanded comments, somewhat rude tone, and overall just disinterested in talking about anything outside of herself. At this point, my sister and I expect nothing less from her, but for some reason, maybe it's just the fragile state my sister is in this maybe out of harbor feelings towards my mom, or maybe because I don't understand how she could be so detached from her own children, after everything we went through just to be with her and always support her and be there for her emotionally over the years. I don't know, I've spent a few days thinking it over and kind of just reminiscing on life as it is, and I've been asking myself, do I say something to my mother? Do I say nothing at all and just continue life the way it is? Or do I go no contact and wipe her from my life entirely? I can honestly say I do not love my mother. I talk to her and I feel like I am talking to a stranger. I think about her and have no idea who she is, nor does she know me. I look at my kids and could never fathom a life where I do not see and talk to them on a regular, consistent basis. My mom doesn't even know where I live, and I've been living here 5 years now. I think of all of the pain of my childhood and the pain that she has put on me as an adult. I always pictured a world where she was an involved grandma. To all the grandkids, she now has 6 and none of them know her. My kids ask me if I even have a mom, which hurts a little, but over the years, I've grown so detached from most feelings when it comes to her. Sorry this has been so long. These are feelings and thoughts I've held in for quite some time, and I think recently they have just boiled over so Reddit. What do you think? I also apologize if this post was everywhere. I'm kind of just putting my raw thoughts out there.